Well, here to provide advice on how to deal with workplace harassment is Business Development Director Tiffany Johnson and Employment Attorney John Bell. Thank you both for being here today. So, Tiffany, I want to start with you. I want to ask you, according to the 2018 report from Edison Research, 21% of Americans say that they've actually experienced some type of sexual harassment in the workplace. And experts also note that many cases often go unreported. So why do employees sit in silence and deal with this abuse?
Well, it's very simple. They have to rely on their job to support themselves, to support their family. Sometimes they have kids in college, and sometimes they have a pension involved. So it's not easy to make a complaint. They don't understand that the law protects them against retaliation. And even if they are aware, they're still fearful to come forward and go through the process, especially when you have a supervisor or manager that's in a position of power.
Yeah, but Tiffany, how realistic? I mean, most people they are afraid. They don't think that the person that they go and tell are going to take up for them.
True, that's real true. The only thing that I agree with the gentleman, it's really about retaliation and keeping the job and tolerating it until they can find a better place to be, a better place to work. And I'm sure that they work with a confidant that's within the workplace that they share things with. But outside of that, yeah, they really rely on that for their income. So it just becomes a hiccup for them.
Well, John, you say that their jobs are protected. So what steps should a person take as soon as they experience some type of sexual harassment or unwanted advances?
So it's great that you have this type of reporting, because really it's all about knowledge. Once they understand that if they make a complaint, that the employer is obligated under the law to take some action, they might be more apt to do that. For example, there is no retaliation. The employer does have to take the complaint seriously. The employer does have to investigate it and potentially separate the people involved. And in addition to separating them, the person who complains, they can't give them any type of adverse treatment. So in other words, you can't change their schedule to the night shifter or maybe put them in a less desirable place in the building. So if somebody is undergoing sexual harassment, you should complain. You should contact the lawyer. You should complain in an email so the employer can't deny receiving the complaint, and that's putting them on notice that they have to take some action.
Maybe word of mouth, but they don't actually put it in writing, whether that's an email, a letter, something, so they can make sure that it's documented in some form or fashion. But right now I want to play a little bit of sound from Cuomo for both of you, and then we'll get your reactions.
I take full responsibility for my actions. I have been too familiar with people. My sense of humor can be insensitive and off-putting. I do hug and kiss people casually, women and men. I have done it all my life. It's who I've been since I can remember. In my mind, I've never crossed the line with anyone. But I didn't realize the extent to which the line has been redrawn.
Well, Tiffany, what are your thoughts when you hear him say that?
I think that he was a little too comfortable, honestly. A little too comfortable with his staff, and that's where the workplace etiquette needs to remain in place at all times. It's not okay to call women babes or okay baby. It's not professional, and especially with a man that has as much power as he has, he's got to be careful, especially in this day and age where anyone can be offended about literally anything. So what it used to be in the past, it's no longer the case for today. It's no longer acceptable.
John, did you see some red flags in some of the language that he was using? Well, he didn't cross the line. He never saw himself doing anything wrong. Any of that?
Well, what I saw is that he was most likely very well prepped by his lawyers. I do agree with Tiffany that he looked very comfortable in that situation. I think that if you look at the investigation and some of these very serious allegations, it goes a lot further than senses of humor and innocent touching. I think that he couldn't call the people who complain liars. On the other hand, he couldn't acknowledge the allegations made against him, so he had to toe the line and be somewhere in the middle, and that's the best that they came up with, which is tough. I liked Governor Cuomo. He did some good things for sexual harassment, requiring the training, for other forms of discrimination in New York State. He was good in that respect, but that doesn't excuse his behavior and make him think that he's untouchable in that position.
Well, you know, Tiffany, the world is changing, and that's obvious in some of the cases we've been seeing. But for those people that were raised maybe in a different time and thought these things were just humorous, that they were just getting comfortable with people, they may need some awakening that they may be the accuser, they may be the issue. So what are some signs that you can give to some people that say, hey, buddy, you may be the one actually doing the harassing?
Yeah, it's that. It's it's when you go in and you're just a little too comfortable, and that hug, you hold them a little too long, or your hands are inappropriate when you touch someone, or you're a little too close. You're invading their space, if you will, making other people feel uncomfortable, and you can actually look at the individual, and you can tell whether you're making them feel uncomfortable or not. So. It's you know when you're making someone feel uncomfortable.
Apparently,
So,
Cuomo did not know.
he
He just didn't want to admit to it. Would you think that was the situation? He just thought it was
yeah,
okay.
it was okay because he's who he is, and it's been accepted for so long, and no one said anything. But now it's not okay. We are speaking up, men and women alike, because women do it just as well as men do.
Okay, well, we want to keep this conversation going, as we especially want to help people that feel like they're in a toxic environment and their work isn't doing anything. So we're going to address all of that when we come back after this short break with Tiffany and John. Stay with us.